It's Praggnanandhaa versus Wei Yi at the Global Chess League 2024. Praggnanandhaa representing the Alpine SG Pipers, while Wei Yi is taking on Praggnanandhaa from the team of Triveni Continental Kings. Both are right now in top shape. Both of them excellent players, especially of rapid chess, and this promises to be a wonderful encounter. The time control is 20 minutes plus no increment on the clock, so straight finish of 20 minutes. Wei starts the clock. Pragg gets his jacket in order, takes his time. Well, these seconds are going to be critical at the end. Perhaps e4, and you have the Scandinavian. Very surprising decision by Wei Yi, but Pragg doesn't even flinch. He makes his move quickly, and it feels like he's ready for Wei Yi's Scandinavian. G6 played here. Now Pragg tries to recollect his line, puts his bishop on c4, and I think one of Wei Yi's main strategy here is to kind of build an advantage on time, because time is such a crucial factor in this event. He pushes his pawn to c5. Now you can push forward with d5. You can also take the pawn, but Praggnanandhaa plays his queen to e2. The knight comes out to c6, and now maybe taking here seems very logical, because take, queen takes, you can play your rook to d1, maybe bishop e3, but Pragg pushes forward and Wei jumps in with his knight. The knight takes, pawn takes, and the knight jumps here. Now this is hanging, but there is a tactic here. Knight takes, bishop takes, and a6. It's kind of attacking here, but Wei doesn't go for it. He plays a6, and after takes, he takes on d5. Now this is slightly better for white, because the pieces are a bit precariously positioned here, and Pragg brings his rook to d1, putting pressure here, threatening knight b3, attacking the queen and winning the piece. So e6 is played to defend the knight here, and now c3, bishop comes out to d7. So a normal position out of the opening. Pragg goes back and takes on d5. Now if you take back here, then bishop c6, and black has two powerful bishops and compensation. So Pragg decides to keep the position as is. He doesn't take the pawn. He plays his queen, bishop a4, and now puts his bishop here. He wants to trade off the final piece. Rook d8, and I guess bishop d4 should be a good idea, but he goes rook d2, now with the idea of breaking the pin here. So Wei Yi takes it, pawn takes, and now presses forward with d4. But this has to be calculated carefully, because this is now a pawn sack, and Pragg goes and attacks the rook. He takes the pawn with 11 minutes for Pragg, 7 minutes for Wei Yi, and now there is a nasty pin, but Wei Yi has seen this. If bishop takes, the rook is hanging. Rook a4, attacking here. He has to sacrifice the queen now. Wow, you have a rook and a bishop for queen, but I think Praggnanandhaa's position looks preferable. Bishop comes in. This is excellent chess here by Wei Yi, defending the position in the best possible manner. Rook takes f2, preparing for some discovered check, but if you see, there is no way that this rook can attack the queen. So rook a8 played by Praggnanandhaa, fearless to the core, but in doing all of this, he is slightly gone below Wei Yi's time. 5 minutes 26 seconds. Wei Yi has 6 minutes 45 seconds. He brings his bishop back to c5. The problem for white, of course, is that it's not so easy to push this pawn anymore, because the rook and bishop control it. But Pragg pushes g4, and maybe he's hoping slowly to bring the king over, then start pushing the pawn. It's not easy to defend this endgame for black, nor is it easy for white to win it. So quite a complex one, and with the fact that both are down to 5 minutes on the clock, This is a tough endgame. Queen b8 played, and now perhaps just g5. You have to be careful with moves like king g7 because you simply lose the rook. So there are not many moves. g5 played here, and Pragg now king e1 pushes b4. Rook goes back, pushes b5, rook comes in with a check, and I think Wei Yi has taken a very nice defensive stance here. He's improved his rook's position, and he's ready to actually sacrifice his bishop for the pawn because he feels that in the resulting endgame it's a fortress. A fortress is a position where you are materially worse, but your opponent cannot break through because somehow you have your pieces on very good squares. So in this particular case, Wei Yi can put his rook on e6. First he gives a check, king is slowly moving upwards, another check, and Pragg is taking his time, but he's down to 2 minutes on the clock while Wei Yi has 2 minutes 48 seconds. And this is what we were talking about. If you queen, this might be a theoretical draw, but he gives a check, and now queen d8, bishop f4. Pragg doesn't want to make a queen and go into that endgame, so he's trying to play with the pawn still here, trying to trick his opponent, but because he's unable to find the win, he's burning his time, and now down to 1 minute 35 seconds. Meanwhile, you can see how Wei Yi has his defense set up, so he's not thinking too much. And this is actually one of the big problems of this time control, or you can say the big thing about this time control is that you don't have time to figure out the win. You need to move quickly. King d4, check, and Pragg goes forward, and I think Pragg might have figured some way to make progress here. He goes back, and Wei Yi puts his bishop away, bishop g3, goes with a check, bishop comes back, queen e3. Well, not so easy to break through. His king c4, Wei Yi moving ahead on the clock, 2 minutes 10 seconds for him. Praggnanandhaa is 1 minute 5 seconds. So already one can say that in this endgame, Pragg should think about a draw, but he seems to have an idea now. Bishop e5, he pushes his h pawn. That was his plan, and I think a good one because it made Wei Yi think a bit. Queen takes h4, 55 seconds for Pragg, 1 minute 56 seconds for Wei Yi. Bishop here, and queen f2. One must commend Wei Yi's defensive skills here. He's been rock solid, and in fact, even though the position was bad, he's found this fortress, and he keeps playing his moves rapidly. And now some small change needs to be made. King comes back, check, king back, and king moves away. The time now for Pragg is less than 40 seconds on the clock. Rook g6, queen c5. Pragg not giving up. He wants to win. He wants to win here. Even the time is not impacting him. And now 30 seconds for Pragg. Wei Yi has, he's unsure where to put. Bishop e5 he plays. Queen e2. Bishop f4. Check now. And will Wei Yi go back or forward? Both are fine. Queen b4. He puts his queen to c3. Check. Check. King f5 and brings the bishop up. Plays queen d4. King h7. And now the final pawns get traded on the king side. check. Bishop g3, queen check, and again a check comes back. Check. Now Praggnanandhaa really low on time. He has 10 seconds left. Bishop e5, queen d5 played, and bishop goes back. Well, what to do in 10 seconds? Absolutely impossible to play here. Pragg is maybe okay with a draw, but Wei Yi now wants to perhaps win. Check. And you can see Pragg's final few seconds left now. He plays his queen, moves his queen in somehow and drops the queen from the board. And with this, his final second runs out and Wei Yi wins on time. Pragg drops the queen from the board. When was that the last time you saw a player doing that? Unbelievable. And with this, Pragg has lost the game. This is an unforgiving format, because even if you are winning, you don't take care of time. Things can go very wrong. There you see Magnus Carlsen in the background also losing on time. A match that Alpine SG Pipers were winning has now been lost because both Pragg and Magnus did not take care of their time against Firouzja. That is Magnus against Firouzja and Wei Yi. Pragg did not take care, and then the Triveni Continental Kings have emerged victorious. That was insane drama between Pragg and Wei Yi.